Reborn in the 1960s, others at most start with an empty stomach, but I start with hell mode. My 4 beautiful ex-wives roll their eyes at me. My 2 biological daughters are skin and bones. They don't even know what rice looks like. Worst of all, my mother built a thatched yard next door and kicked me out to prevent me from harassing my daughter-in-law. Seeing that the whole family of 7 will run out of food tomorrow and have to eat clay, I took a machete and went into the deep mountains. Well, if I don't bring back food today, this man's rebirth is wasted. This is the last time. If you dare to flirt with me again, I'll cut off that harmful thing of yours. I shuddered all over, and before I could react, I was pushed hard from the Kong to the ground. Holy crap! I looked up and my eyes almost popped out. A stunningly beautiful woman was frantically pulling a quilt to cover herself. Then, a flood of memories rushed into my mind. I was reborn. 1961, summer. The home was still the same, but everything had changed. In my previous life, I was alone. In this life, I have 4 wives and 2 daughters. The woman in front of me is Song Xiulan, my eldest wife, who gave birth to my daughter Hong Hong. To be precise, she's my ex-wife. All 4 wives are beautiful in appearance and figure. Taking advantage of my mother and the other 3 ex-wives working in the fields, the original owner, who was disliked by everyone, coaxed and pestered Song Xiulan into, "Where are your dog eyes looking? If you have the guts, don't get divorced." Song Xiulan glared at me angrily, grabbed a pillow, and threw it at me. "Get lost." I quickly put on my clothes and hurried to the yard to sit down. "Brother original owner, you're something." Continuing to recall the original owner's deeds, I can only describe it in one word. Fierce life needs no explanation. Handsome as Panin, a master of words. A genuine poor peasant descendant. A leader in the pie-in-the-sky track. The predecessor relied on his silver tongue and his extremely red background to successively trick 4 top-tier beauties into marrying him. Then married one and divorced one. His brain was purely kicked by a donkey. But in this era, it's not surprising. In 1961, the marriage registration system had only been clear for a few years, and it was only implemented in rural areas in the past 2 years. Those landlords and rich households from the old society, who didn't have a bunch of concubines. Am I the most miserable reborn person? Thinking of the original owner's detestable nature and the current situation, I wanted to cry but had no tears. The 3-year disaster hasn't passed yet, and the fields can't produce much grain. For ex-wives, 2 daughters, and 1 mother. 7 mouths waiting to eat. Hell start. Previously, we barely survived thanks to my mother and 4 ex-wives working in the fields from dawn to dusk, just barely avoiding starvation. My mother was afraid the 4 girls would face discrimination if they returned to their parents' homes, and also afraid the original owner would harass them daily, so she built a thatched yard next to the house under the pretext of dividing the family. Living there with the 4 ex-daughters-in-law, and kicked me, her own son, to live next door. Mother Wang Tsuehua came in carrying a hoe. My nose tingled, and I quickly went to take the hoe. "Get lost, you good-for-nothing, even worse than a good woman." Seeing my unlucky son sneaking back to the old house, Wang Tsuehua gave me a sharp glare. What sin did I commit in my past life to give birth to such a prodigal son? I then noticed 3 women behind my mother. They were the other 3 ex-wives. The second, Zhao Pingting, has a classical beauty's elegant temperament from a local landlord family. The third, Sun Miao Miao, a rich peasant's daughter, mother of my second daughter Nyonyo. The fourth, Zhou Shuang, a middle peasant's daughter. 4 top-tier wives. If I had kept even one, I wouldn't have called the original owner an idiot. Except for the first wife Song Xiulan, who is a poor peasant. The other 3 wives had more or less problematic backgrounds. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ended up with me. All divorced. You'd have to drink 2 pounds of fake liquor to do such a brainless thing. Before I could recover, a corncob flew over. Song Xiulan had come out at some point, glaring angrily. "All day long, you waste your energy on women. If you don't want to starve, don't take food to flirt around." I remembered now. The original owner also had a tendency to fool around. Only women from the old society would have such low expectations of him, just not to flirt too much. Wang Tsuehua slapped me on the back of the neck. "You little brat, if you dare to gamble again or mess around with those loose women in the team, don't call me your mother, and never set foot in the old house again." Feeling my mother's genuine disgust, I put on a flattering smile. "Mom, don't be angry, it's all my fault. From today on, if I don't make something of myself, I'm not Dashan. I promise you'll have meat to eat and fine grains every day." As soon as I finished, I was met with a series of eye rolls. "Fine grains every day? Can you have some shame? Today we're out of food, and tomorrow we'll have to eat clay." "Brother Dashan, Please, I beg you, stop stealing food from home to give to those vixens. If you don't go out gambling, I'll be grateful. Not a single one of the 4 wives believed me. Trust after trust, only to be disappointed again and again. The women had resigned themselves, but they couldn't bear to leave the old lady, widowed in middle age, and now stuck with such a son in her old age. Your family has hunted in the mountains for generations, all upright people. How did they produce a shameless thing like you? I hoped you'd improve after moving out, but a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. After a round of scolding, I couldn't keep face. No matter what, in my previous life, I was among the first to get rich after the reform and opening up. Entered the business world at nearly 50 and accumulated wealth in just over a decade. A seasoned veteran who went in and out several times. So what if I'm back in the 60s? I'll still carve out a path. Mom, no more words. I'm going into the mountains to get food. With that, I found a half-used machete in the storage shed. I looked back at my family, and tears almost fell. My daughters Hong Hong and Nyo were lying on the window, staring at me eagerly. The 2 kids were emaciated, severely malnourished. This trip to the mountains was for one purpose only, to find a way to feed the 7 mouths at home. Brother Dashan, wait. The youngest wife, Zhou Shuang, called out to me and stuffed half a black cornbread into my pocket. Don't be reckless in the mountains. Come back early. Feeling a long-lost concern, I nodded heavily. Without looking back, I headed toward Shuanglong Mountain outside the village. Walking with high ambitions toward Shuanglong Mountain, I sighed as I went. I talked big, but I wasn't sure if I could find food. In these times, the Northeast wasn't yet the famous Great Northern Granary. Wild beasts roamed rampant, and most areas were uninhabited. Fortunately, the authorities had repeatedly issued notices for self-rescue production, allowing individuals and collectives to hunt and gather in the mountains. The official name was Small Autumn Harvest, and any game or mountain products obtained belonged to the individual. The problem was that everyone was sallow and thin, barely able to walk a few steps, let alone go into the mountains to find food. Wild beasts aren't stationary targets. If you run out of energy, who eats whom is uncertain. So the low-risk option of digging wild vegetables became the main self-rescue method. Oh, isn't this our village's playboy? Come to dig wild vegetables too? Is he digging wild vegetables? Clearly going hunting. Carrying a machete and pretending to be a hunter, aren't you afraid of being laughed at? At the foot of Shuanglong Mountain, villagers were everywhere digging wild vegetables. I turned a deaf ear to the gossip, just looking for something to fill our stomachs. Ding. Detecting the host's strong survival desire, the check-in system activated. Today's check-in successful. Obtained 3 question opportunities, unlimited fields. I crouched on the spot. Brother system, you finally arrived. A must for rebirth, late, but sure. Damn, I hit the jackpot. Is there anything valuable nearby? The next second, a line of text appeared before my eyes. 2 li southeast, on the shady side of a cliff, there is a lingzhi mushroom of superior quality. My eyes almost popped out. What am I waiting for? Just do it. I calmly left the area, and once no one was behind me, I broke into a run. I used to come to this mountain often for food in my previous life. I could navigate the outskirts blindfolded. Soon, I found the cliff location. Pushing aside the dead grass, a palm-sized lingzhi mushroom appeared before me. Purple-brown cap, attached to rotten wood, looked valuable. I carefully picked it and tucked it into my bosom. It's a good thing, but who to sell it to? I rubbed my chin in thought. The commune has mountain product collection points, but the prices are low. The iron rice bowl workers inside all had sour faces. Without some perks, even top-grade wild ginseng could be dismissed as worthless turnips. While the common people went hungry, those with iron rice bowls weren't having an easy time either. Hey, how could I forget them? I slapped my thigh, and the advantage of being a reborn person immediately showed. In these times, not everyone went hungry. Besides high-ranking cadres with ration grain, there was another group that didn't worry about food and drink, the capitalists. Bro, which family in the commune urgently needs lingzhi? Wang Zhanghe, owner of Yuanfengji Pharmacy, lives at the 3rd house in Huaishu Alley, West Street of the commune. This man knows his goods and has fixed interest payments. He can trade with cash or hard currency. Perfect. I felt like jumping up. Wang Zhanghe, the biggest businessman in Qingshan town. After liberation, he joined the public-private joint venture and served as the capital's side manager, receiving fixed interest from the public side each year. You're the one. Saving the last question opportunity, I decided to use it when buying things. Tucking the lingzhi safely, I took a deep breath, went to the mountain spring for a drink, and swallowed the half cornbread the young wife had given me, washing it down with spring water. With food in my belly, I'd have the strength to make the round trip. 2 hours later, I arrived at Qingshan Commune, asking around until I found Huaishu Alley on West Street. A large house with blue bricks and tiles, 2 stone lions at the gate. As expected of a capitalist, the house was more impressive than anyone else's. Dong dong dong. I knocked twice on the door knocker, and soon there was movement inside. Who are you looking for? The door opened, and an old man in his 60s, wearing a Zhongshan suit, poked his head out. Are you Mr. Wang Zhanghe? I am Wang Zhanghe. Young comrade, is there something? Mr. Wang, I dug up a wild lingzhi in the mountains. I heard you know your goods. Would you be willing to buy it? Hearing the words, wild lingzhi, Wang Zhanghe's eyes lit up. He opened the gate wide and invited me in. Walking inside, I gasped. A 3-courtyard mansion, with 2 bicycles parked in the yard. The living room had a gramophone, and all the furniture was rosewood. In 1961, the capitalists' fixed interest payments hadn't been cut off yet. They had money and had been in the medicinal materials business all their lives. For him, wild lingzhi was the best door opener. Mr. Wang, take a look. I pulled out the lingzhi and handed it over. Wang Zhanghe's eyes brightened as he took it. Then he turned to get his reading glasses for a careful examination. Good stuff, how much? 50 yuan. The purchasing station would give it most 5, selling to someone who knows its value. I naturally aimed high. Young man, you sure dare to ask. The purchasing point would give you at most 5. How about this? 50 yuan plus 10 jin of grain coupons. 40, with 20 jin of grain coupons. I haggled. 30, with 10 jin of grain coupons and 5 jin of meat coupons. I won't take any more. Deal. Eager to cash out, I agreed readily. Wang Zhanghe took out 3 crisp new 10 yuan notes, then counted out grain and meat coupons and handed them to me. Not to mention anything else, just these 3 well-preserved 10 yuan notes. Kept for decades, each would be worth at least 100,000. Young man, if you have more of this stuff in the future, come directly to me. We can negotiate the price. Don't worry, I'll bring them to you for sure. Leaving the Wang residence, I headed straight to the grain station and the supply cooperative. In less than half an hour, I had 10 jin of rice and 5 jin of pork belly. On the way back, I started daydreaming again. Now, maybe a few of the wives would agree to let me sleep on the Kong. By the time I got home, it was pitch dark. The yard was dark, with only a kerosene lamp lit in the main room. Mom, look what I brought back. You little bastard, you still know how to come home. I thought you died out there. As soon as the words fell, I heard Wang Zuihua's scolding mixed with worry. I put down the things and grinned, calling out, Mom, wives, come out quickly. What are you yelling about? Hong Hong and Nyo just fell asleep. If you wake them up, I'll deal with you. Wang Zuihua came out of the main room, glaring at me angrily. I knew you'd tell a bunch of lies. Where's the food? You're all dirty. Go change your clothes quickly. Mom, wake up Hong Hong and Nyo. We're having braised pork tonight. I gestured with my chin toward the ground. It was dark in the yard, and Wang Zuihua, being older, didn't see it. She looked down and froze on the spot. A bulging bag, with a huge piece of pork belly on top. Oh my God! With the old lady's exclamation, all 4 wives rushed out. Comrades, ex-wives, your man has returned victorious. 10 jin of rice, 5 jin of pork belly, and I also traded for a jin of sugar, a bottle of soy sauce, and a pack of star anise. The 4 women looked at each other, as if they had lost the ability to speak. Wang Zuihua stammered, These things, where did you get them? Mom, your son is incredibly lucky. A group of people were bent over digging wild vegetables, and I was the one who found a wild lingzhi. I can't tell about the system, and I have to keep up my persona. I boasted about how lucky I was. Spotting the lingzhi at a glance. Tell me the truth, where did it come from? Wang Zuihua found it hard to believe. So many people didn't see it, but I found it. Did you do something shameful again? Mom, why don't you believe me? I put on a pitiful face and swore an oath. No help for it. The original owner had too little credibility. When I was little, Dad took me up the mountain to hunt and taught me to recognize medicinal herbs. Don't you remember? I felt secretly sorry, with no one to verify. It would take Dad appearing in a dream. Dad, Hong Hong is hungry. Grandma, Nyo wants to eat cornbread. The 2 kids had woken up at some point and ran out of the house. 3-year-old Nyo was as thin as a radish top, and 5-year-old Hong Hong was equally heartbreaking. Seeing the rice on the ground, Hong Hong's eyes lit up immediately. She ran over and hugged my leg. Dad, is this grain? Why is it so white? I bent down and pulled both daughters close, my heart aching as if twisted by a knife. The 2 kids didn't even recognize rice, showing how hard life had been. Girls, this is called rice. When steamed, it's really fragrant. Song Xiulan's eyes reddened. She turned away and wiped her tears with her sleeve. Zhao Pingting felt a pang in her heart. Zhou Shuang quietly shed tears. Sun Miao Miao picked up Nyonyo and said indifferently, "You really didn't go gambling? If I had the luck to win 30 yuan, the family wouldn't be in this state." I handed Hong Hong to Song Xiulan, pulled out the remaining money, and gave it to my mother. The meat cost 3.5 yuan, the rice 3 yuan, and the remaining 23.50 is all here. Zhao Pingting gasped. A strong laborer only earned 6 or 7 yuan a month, and he had spent so much at once. I said seriously, "Mom, I've made you suffer all these years. From now on, I'll cover all household expenses. If I let you go hungry again, I'm not Dashan. Keep this money. I'll continue to bring in more." The family had no grain for the next day and couldn't find a single new piece of clothing. 30 yuan was just a drop in the bucket. To make sure the family had enough to eat and wear, I had to double my efforts to squeeze every bit of potential from the system. "Mom, you all wait. Tonight we're having a full meal." I picked up the meat and headed to the outer room to cook. Dashan, come out for a moment." Just as I stepped into the outer room, Zhao Pingting called me outside the yard gate. "What's up?" I asked with a smile. "Stop grinning." She lowered her voice. "This morning, when we went to work, did you sleep with Big Sister?" Don't try to fool me. Big Sister secretly washed herself this afternoon. You must have done that. As expected of a daughter from a scholarly family, sharp-minded. "Pingting, if you're upset, I'll compensate you double after dinner. How about that?" I seized the chance to grab her delicate hand. "Dashan, can you have some shame?" Zhao Pingting yanked her hand back, her face red with anger, and warned in a low voice, "If you touch me again, I'll call Big Sister right now to cut off that thing of yours with scissors. Pingting, come inside and help your mother with the meal." Wang Zuihua's voice came from outside. Zhao Pingting shot me a fierce glare and quickly returned to the yard. I chuckled foolishly. As expected of a landlord's daughter, her hands were as tender as tofu. Soon, the outer room was filled with enticing aromas. The old lady was unusually generous, cutting a full gene of pork belly, with wild vegetables picked during the day as a side. A pot of pork stewed with wild vegetables was brought to the table, filling the room with meat fragrance. First, she gave each granddaughter a bowl of soup, with several pieces of fatty pork belly in the bowl. Then she served rice to each of the 4 daughters-in-law, stuffing each bowl with fatty meat slices until they overflowed. "Eat more. All of you are so thin you'd blow away in a gust of wind." Wang Zuihua's eyes were full of distress. When it was my turn, there were only a few dry lean meat slices left, not a single piece of fat. The Kong was narrow to begin with, packed tightly with 5 women and 2 children, leaving no room for me. "Mom, you really don't treat me like a person," I deliberately complained. "A good-for-nothing bum like you. Even eating lean meat is a waste of good food. If you ask me, you shouldn't even get the broth." Wang Zuihua shot me a glare, her own bowl containing only 2 pieces of wild greens. I stood by the Kong with my bowl and chuckled. "Mom is absolutely right. I'm only fit for lean meat. The fatty pieces are all for you. I've been reborn, but my tastes are still from my past life. I really have no interest in fatty meat." Yet looking at my gaunt and sallow family, I couldn't laugh anymore. The 2 daughters were wolfing down their food, not even willing to wipe the grease from their mouths, licking it off with their little tongues. "Girls, is the pork belly delicious?" "Delicious." Hong Hong's cheeks were stuffed round. "Dad, will we have meat every day from now on?" Nyonyo looked at me timidly. "Yes. From now on, you'll have rice every day and meat at every meal." "Come on, Pinky swear, liar is a dog." I put down my bowl and chopsticks, extending my little fingers. Hong Hong immediately hooked hers, and Nyonyo hesitated before doing the same. Looking at my 2 bony children, my heart ached. I forced a smile and said, "Pinky swear, 100 years no change." Song Xiulan's lips moved slightly, but she said nothing and continued eating, her gaze a little less cold. Zhou Shuang, while her sisters weren't watching, secretly picked a piece of fatty meat from her bowl and put it into mine. "Shuanger." My heart leaped with joy. "Shoo." She shook her head gently. The youngest daughter-in-law, married last, hadn't completely given up on me yet. Wang Zuihua caught this from the corner of her eye, said nothing, but sighed inwardly. She then glanced at the other 3 daughters-in-law. Song Xiulan pretended not to see. Sun Miao Miao kept her head down, occasionally glancing at me. Zhao Pingting ate on her own, as if she hadn't noticed anything. All 4 girls said they hated me, but whether it was true hatred or just lip service, the old lady could see it clearer than anyone. Whether hate or hope, none of them had truly given up. If they were completely indifferent, they wouldn't have let me into the house to eat, nor would they stay with her in this poor home suffering. "Mom, And my former wives, listen to me. Sensing the change in my wives' attitudes, I, having lived 2 lives, saw it clearly too. I wasn't a good person before, making you all suffer with me. Whether I can truly reform, let actions speak. I'm the only man in this family. I'll take on all the responsibilities of supporting the household. 1,000 words can't erase the hurt I caused. Actions speak louder than words. But I still have to say this, to let them know I've cut ties with my past self. Burning paper money at the grave. Are you fooling ghosts? You've said that 800 times, and when did you ever follow through? Song Xiaolan sneered. You got lucky finding a lingzhi today, but once the money's gone, who knows what you'll be like. Dashan, we don't ask you to live a proper life, let alone hope for meat at every meal. We just ask you not to squander the family fortune anymore. Sun Miao Miao held Nyonyo and gently advised. As long as I don't gamble or take things out of the house, that's the best comfort for the whole family. Even mountains of gold and silver can't withstand daily handouts. Zhao Pingting said crossly, Third sister, don't bother talking to him. If Li Dashan can reform, the sun can rise in the west. Last year he said he went hunting, but he traded his sickle for wine and came back claiming a leopard took it. He lies without even drafting a story. If you'd met a leopard, would you still be alive? Other people at least make up a plausible excuse when lying to their families. But Li Dashan? Either he ran into a tiger that robbed him, or bandits took his tools. Burning paper money at the grave to fool ghosts. Even the ghosts would be so angry they'd come back to life. I shut my mouth sheepishly. The original owner's misdeeds were too many to count. Nothing I said now would help. To make the women in this house trust me would take time, not overnight. After dinner, the 4 women divided the chores of cleaning up, and I was shooed back to the neighboring yard. Once the old house was quiet, I stepped onto a pile of adobe bricks under the wall, grabbed the top of the wall with both hands, poked half my head out, and furtively peered into the next yard. Zhao Pingting was the most sensitive of the 4 wives, and also the most special. Born into a landlord family, she had lived cautiously all these years. I had married her by exploiting her inferiority and helplessness. In this life, I swore I would make it up to Zhao Pingting. How? Hee. Of course, by doing the deed. Speak of the devil. Just as I was thinking, Zhao Pingting came out of the main house carrying a wooden basin, apparently having just washed her mother-in-law's feet. Was she upset because I slept with Song Xiaolan, or because she herself had no children? Li Dashan tossed and turned, pondering the conversation before dinner. Suddenly he grinned. Whatever she meant. Since I promised double compensation. A real man keeps his word. He silently slid down from the wall and crept to the back window of Zhao Pingting's small room. He tapped twice on the slightly open window. Pingting, are you asleep? Li Weigua, are you crazy? What are you doing here in the middle of the night? Guess. Go back to sleep. I'm not going. Li Dashan lowered his voice. I haven't fulfilled my promise to you yet. Your man means what he says. After his words, there was silence from the window. After a long while, the window was pushed open from inside. Come in, keep it quiet. Li Dashan was overjoyed and climbed through the window into the room. A oil lamp was lit in the room. It was small but exceptionally clean. Zhao Pingting sat on the edge of the Kong with her back to the window. Li Dashan sat down next to her, and Zhao Pingting immediately moved away. Seeing this, Li Dashan pulled Zhao Pingting into his arms. Zhao Pingting trembled all over, as if all her strength had been drained, and she went limp in Li Dashan's arms without warning. You bastard, big liar, I'll never believe you again. Her voice grew softer, but her hands unconsciously wrapped around Li Dashan's neck. Zhao Pingting looked up, her almond eyes both shy and angry as she glared at Li Dashan. Li Dashan, what do you take me for? You were with Big Sister during the day, and now you come to me at night. What do you think I am? Li Dashan dropped his grin and said seriously, you are my wife. Bullshit, we're divorced. In my heart, you, Zhao Pingting, are my lawful wife, and you'll never escape that in this life. Li Dashan turned rogue, spouting rustic sweet talk one after another. Born in the 1930s and 40s, he had experienced both the planned economy era and the market economy boom. He knew well how to talk to different people. This kind of rustic sweet talk, if used on modern women, would make you seem crazy or old-fashioned. But used on women of this era, it worked every time. After all, it had only been 11 or 12 years since liberation. The old feudal ethics hadn't completely faded away. Listening to Li Dashan's endless sweet talk, Zhao Pingting's eyes suddenly welled up with tears. Li Dashan took the chance to pull her into his arms and whispered in her ear, from now on, Pingting, I'll listen to whatever you say. Never hit back or talk back, but you have to acknowledge me as your man. Zhao Pingting said nothing. leaning against Li Dashan's shoulder. You never keep your word. How many times have you fooled me? I promise this time for sure. If I lie, you can chop off my head and use it as a stool. Hearing this, Zhao Pingting burst out laughing. Then, thinking it inappropriate, she quickly put on a stern face. Who wants your dog head? After a long while, Zhao Pingting pushed Li Dashan's chest. Hurry up, don't let them find out. Just as Li Dashan was about to move, he heard Zhao Pingting say again, this is the last time. If there's a next time, I won't let you off. Hum. Li Dashan quickly got off the Kong and blew out the oil lamp. After a while, the room fell completely silent. Near dawn, Zhao Pingting, curled up under the quilt, poked Li Dashan's chest with her finger. Those words you said, were you just fooling me? Li Dashan was stunned for a moment and said, which sentence did I say? You. Zhao Pingting was almost furious. She had just finished speaking, and it seemed she had been tricked again. You just said with your own mouth that from now on you'll listen to whatever I say, never hit back or talk back. Do you know what meat I like to eat? Li Dashan was puzzled and blurted out. Pork? Zhao Pingting's eyes rolled, and she deliberately kept him in suspense, saying, wrong, I won't tell you. Guess for yourself. If you guess right, I'll consider giving you another chance. If you guess wrong, we're done here, and don't come looking for me again. Li Dashan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Zhao Pingting's little scheme couldn't fool Li Dashan, who was as shrewd as an old fox. It wasn't that she wanted to eat some good meat. She was just using this as an excuse to test whether he had truly reformed and whether he really had her in his heart. Having seen through Zhao Pingting's little scheme, Li Dashan didn't expose her but smiled and said, if I guess right, you can't go back on your word. I'm not like you. I never go back on my word. Zhao Pingting pushed Li Dashan, urging, hurry up and go, or it'll really be too late. Big sister gets up to light the fire and cook it this time every day. Li Dashan had no choice but to reluctantly let go of Zhao Pingting. He quickly put on his clothes, opened the back window again, and jumped out. He climbed back to his own small yard along the earthen wall. After a night of tossing and turning, Li Dashan was exhausted and fell asleep as soon as he hit the heated brick bed, or Kong. After sleeping for who knows how long, a violent banging on the door rang in his ears. Li Dashan, get the hell out here. If you don't pay back the money, I'll smash your door. The next moment, Li Dashan's eyes snapped open. His face was frighteningly gloomy. Another person not in his past life's memory. Zhang Youfu, one of the original owner's fair-weather friends. Lazy and gluttonous, greedy for small gains, and forgets honor at the sight of profit. The original owner had been taken advantage of by him many times. Outside the door stood a skinny monkey-like man around 20, with shifty eyes darting around. Who are you yelling at? Zhang Youfu, do I owe you face? As soon as he opened the door, Li Dashan's aura startled Zhang Youfu. Zhang Youfu's heart skipped a beat. Then he forced himself to stay calm and blustered. Li Dashan, debts must be paid. When are you going to pay back the 2 yuan you owe me? As he finished, spittle nearly sprayed onto Li Dashan's face. Li Dashan was so angry he laughed. The original owner had indeed borrowed money from Zhang Youfu, but it wasn't 2 yuan, it was 2 mao. After losing his last cent gambling, he ran into Zhang Youfu on the road. He shamelessly borrowed 2 cents from him, saying he would pay it back the next day, but later forgot about it. Unexpectedly, Zhang Youfu had the audacity to claim that 2 cents had turned into $2. Don't say I didn't warn you. You must pay back the money today, or I'll go to the brigade office and report you. Just now, Zhang Youfu heard from nearby neighbors that the Li family seemed to be stewing meat in the middle of the night. He guessed that Li Dashan must have gotten some money to eat meat. That's why he came knocking early in the morning. You're right, there is indeed a debt between us. Li Dashan grinned widely. Just when he was worried about finding a pillow to sleep on, someone immediately delivered it to his door. You know it. So hurry up and pay back the money. Zhang Youfu breathed a sigh of relief. Li Dashan was still the same coward, easily intimidated. Wait here, I'll get it for you right away. With that, Li Dashan turned and went into the house. Seeing Li Dashan obediently go inside to fetch the money, Zhang Youfu felt quite smug. At the same time, Zhang Youfu also felt a pang of envy. How could such a useless loser be worthy of marrying for wives? He himself was handsome and lacked nothing, yet he didn't even have a single wife. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got, and he decided to extort more money from Li Dashan later. Hand it over. After waiting a short while, Zhang Youfu saw Li Dashan come out of the house empty-handed. You bastard, I've been too nice to you, haven't I? If a tiger doesn't show its might, you think it's a sick cat. In a flash, Li Dashan pulled a sharp knife from behind his back. The cold blade pressed against Zhang Youfu's neck, and Li Dashan slapped the kid's face hard with his right hand. Slap. Accompanied by a loud slap. Half of Zhang Youfu's face turned bright red, leaving 5 clear finger marks. You bastard. Coming to my doorstep to extort money. Who gave you the guts? Damn it. Li Dashan grabbed Zhang Youfu by the hair with one hand and shouted sternly, I borrowed 2 cents from you. And in less than a month, it snowballed into $2? And you dare to say you'll report me to the brigade office? Stop your bullshit threats. With your usury, if we go to the brigade office, it's uncertain who will live and who will die. Zhang Youfu was shocked and terrified, never expecting Li Dashan to have changed so much. Even so, Zhang Youfu still insisted stubbornly, arguing, it's clearly $2, don't try to deny it. I'm telling you, Li Dashan, if you've got the guts, kill me. If not, you still have to pay back the money. He still didn't believe Li Dashan would dare to draw blood with the knife. Convinced that he was still the same pushover who could be bullied by anyone. Li Dashan, don't be ungrateful. Do you think I don't know your family was stewing meat last night? You owe debts but still eat and drink well. If you've got the guts, let's go to the brigade office and argue it out. Hearing this, Li Dashan suddenly understood. So it was about the meat. In the past, after Zhang Youfu threw out a few harsh words, the original owner would have cowered. Unfortunately, Li Dashan was still Li Dashan. But this Dashan was not the same as that Dashan. Fine, at the brigade office, we'll have a good discussion. You say I owe you money. Do you have an IOU or a witness? No, right? Li Dashan said with a half-smile. I do. What do you have? After a few words, Zhang Youfu was completely confused. What was all this about? Back when I was well off, I gave you plenty of tips, sometimes 1 or 2 cents, sometimes 3 or 5 cents. More than one villager saw this. Then you gave it to me voluntarily. You say voluntarily, but I say it was a loan. Li Dashan slapped Zhang Youfu again. Having plunged into the economic tide in 1980 and amassed a fortune of over 100 million by the mid-1990s, did they really think Li Dashan was a devout believer or a law-abiding honest merchant? Zhang Youfu was shameless. Little did he know, Li Dashan was the grandfather of shamelessness. Zhang, I'm no good, and you're no better. If we go argue, the brigade cadres will at most punish both sides equally. But the thing is, I have witnesses who can prove I gave you money more than once, totaling at least $7 or $8, if not 10. Playing tricks with me, you're still green. Li Dashan effortlessly turned the tables, making Zhang Youfu's face change color. Zhang Youfu, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Daring to extort me, I'll crush your gall. Stop wasting time. I'll give you 2 choices. Either pay me back $10 with interest, or give me your hunting rifle, and we'll call it even. Zhang Youfu's father used to be a hunter and left behind an old hunting rifle. He usually treasured it and never let anyone touch it. But this guy was too scared to take the gun into the mountains to hunt. He wanted to play dirty, but Li Dashan was even dirtier. In one sentence, either pay up or hand over the gun. Zhang Youfu was at a loss, his head buzzing. Good heavens, had Li Dashan been possessed by something? How did you become so fierce? And your tongue is terrifyingly sharp. Is this still that spineless Li Dashan? You're distorting the truth. After holding back for a long time, Zhang Youfu stammered and cursed Li Dashan for being shameless. Congratulations, you got it right. To deal with someone like you, you have to be shameless. Li Dashan sneered coldly. A wicked person needs a wicked person to deal with them. Besides, Zhang Youfu wasn't even a real villain, at most a small fry. Li Dashan had encountered people even more shameless than him in his past life. The business world is like a battlefield. Li Dashan had cut down many tough opponents. That gun was my dad's. You're a middle peasant. I'm a hired farmhand. If my hand slips, and I leave something on you, would I go to jail? Li Dashan moved his wrist slightly, and the cold touch of the blade made Zhang Youfu shudder. At this moment, Zhang Youfu wanted to cry but had no tears. Scared out of his wits. Among the poor and lower middle peasants, above the middle peasant was the poor peasant. Above the poor peasant was the hired farmhand, who was as red as could be. If Li Dashan was pushed too far and really gave him a stab, as long as no one dies, it seems to be treated as an internal conflict. What is an internal conflict? Naturally, it's criticism and education apologies. Li Dashan, you have no sense of loyalty. Zhang Youfu stubbornly tried to morally blackmail Li Dashan, repeatedly claiming that the two were good brothers for many years. Li Dashan actually turned his back for this little money. Loyalty? You're worthy of talking about loyalty with me? Li Dashan suddenly pressed the knife down, the blade instantly cutting a layer of skin on Zhang Youfu's neck. When I won money, when did I ever shortchange you? You ate and drank at my expense, then came to my doorstep to cause trouble and extort money. You ungrateful bastard. You deserve to mention the word loyalty? Stop your nonsense. Are you paying up or giving me the gun? I'll give you the gun. Zhang Youfu said with a mournful face. I'll go back and get it for you. I'll go with you. Li Dashan didn't trust Zhang Youfu. Don't try any tricks, or I'll break your legs. Zhang Youfu didn't dare to try any tricks and obediently led Li Dashan home. To be honest, Li Dashan did have some good points. He was never stingy. Unfortunately, some people are wolves that can never be fed. When there's a benefit, they call you brother. When they turn on you, they're fiercer than a wolf cub. Back at home, Zhang Youfu reluctantly handed Li Dashan an old-fashioned iron sand shotgun, including several rounds of iron sand and gunpowder. Li Dashan took the shotgun, carefully inspected it, and felt happy again. Although this shotgun was old, it could barely be used. Li Dashan shouldered the shotgun and turned to leave, warning, "Don't come near me again, or it won't just be a cut on the skin." At this time, in the main hall of the Li family old house, the commotion outside was so loud that Wang Zuohua and her 4 daughters-in-law couldn't help but hear it. I knew he wouldn't change. Song Xiulan sighed. Yesterday, he said he'd reform, and today he's fighting and causing trouble again. Truly, a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. Sun Miao Miao said bitterly. Why can't Dashan change? Among the women, Zhao Pingting was the most disappointed. She thought Li Dashan had really changed. But only a few hours later, he was back with his old shady friends. Mom, come out and see what good stuff I've got. Cheerfully returning home, Li Dashan couldn't wait to show off his trophy. Wang Zuohua stormed out with her 4 daughters-in-law, ready to give Li Dashan a good scolding. The moment they saw the shotgun, the women were all stunned. Isn't this Zhang Youfu's shotgun? How did it end up in your hands? Didn't he come to collect a debt? Song Xiulan stammered. Li Dashan showed off. Of course Zhang Youfu gave it to me. Bullshit. How could he give you this? Wang Zuohua was the first not to believe it. The daughters-in-law also looked suspicious. Li Dashan grinned and said, Mom, I told you, from now on, I'll be the head of this family. No kind of monsters or demons will dare to bother us. This shotgun is what Zhang Youfu owed me, and I took it fair and square. With that, Li Dashan briefly recounted how he turned the tables, using a few words to reverse the situation, forcing Zhang Youfu to surrender obediently. Is everything you said true? Sun Miao Miao was completely stunned. It wasn't that she didn't believe Li Dashan, but this whole thing was too bizarre. Zhao Pingting said with a strange expression, You scared him with a few words, and he gave you the gun? It's not scaring, it's the art of persuasion. Li Dashan said seriously, That guy may act high and mighty, but when it comes down to it, he's just a showy pillow. He doesn't have the guts to go to the brigade to argue with me, nor the guts to bet on whether I'd dare to mess with him. Wang Zuohua looked at her own son as if she didn't recognize him, staring wide-eyed at Li Weigua. Over the years, more than half of the family's belongings had been gambled away by her son. The other half had been swindled by Li Dashan's shady friends. Oh, grain. Even the bronze mirror that was part of Wang Zuohua's dowry was stolen by that brat and gambled away. They only saw Li Dashan taking things out, never bringing anything home. Not just Wang Zuohua. The dowries of the 4 daughters-in-law had also been mostly squandered by Li Dashan. They thought yesterday was a one-time exception. Who would have thought? Li Dashan actually managed to get a shotgun back from his shady friends. The sun doesn't rise from the west. But Li Dashan had brought things home twice in a row, and that was absolutely true. Thinking of the hardships over the years, Wang Zuohua couldn't help but feel sorrowful, and tears began to flow. Wiping her tears with her sleeve, Wang Zuohua sobbed and murmured, Old man, is it you who made this happen? You must have seen how pitiful we are and guided this brat from heaven onto the right path. The old lady got more and more emotional, and finally sat on the doorstep and cried. Years of grievances and bitterness burst out at this moment. The expressions of the 4 women also changed. Disappointment and disgust lessened, replaced by a bit of surprise and astonishment. Then, after much persuasion, they finally got Wang Zuohua to stop crying. Breakfast was not as lavish as the midnight meal. As the old lady said, poverty doesn't come from eating or dressing, but from poor planning. Even if Li Dashan had earned money, they still had to eat frugally. After all, no one in the family could say how long Li Dashan's current behavior would last. Black cornmeal buns with pickled vegetables. Except for Li Dashan, no one in the family touched their chopsticks. They were still shocked by the shotgun from the morning. Chewing the hard-to-swallow coarse grain, the corn grits scratched his throat. Li Dashan was full of motivation. Mom, you all eat up. There will be more of this in the future. I only bring things home, and I will never take anything out of the house. He coaxed his mother, 4 wives, and 2 daughters to start eating. Li Dashan silently activated the check-in system. System, is today suitable for hunting in the mountains? Will Zhang Youfu bring people to retaliate against me? The weather is fine today, suitable for hunting. Zhang Youfu is timid by nature and won't dare to act rashly in the short term. Li Dashan breathed a sigh of relief. Then, Li Dashan asked about low-risk prey suitable for his current situation. The host is suitable for hunting badgers today. Seeing the system give the best option, Li Dashan beamed with joy. Right, dig out badgers. Badgers are valuable all over. Their meat is fine and doesn't have the gamey smell of ordinary wild meat. It doesn't need complicated processing and can be eaten by both adults and children. More importantly, badger oil can treat frostbite and burns. The supply and marketing cooperative and private pharmacies are willing to buy it. In addition, badger skins can also be sold for money. Where can I find badgers? There are 3 badger dens on the sunny side of the eastern slope of Shuanglong Mountain. With the 3 questions used up, Li Dashan had a plan. Putting down his bowl and chopsticks and shouldering the shotgun, Li Dashan was about to leave. Where are you going? Wang Cuihua quickly called out. Mom, I'm going hunting in the mountains. The 2 kids are growing and can't eat this stuff every day. Li Dashan said without looking back. I'll bring back badger meat for you tonight. After saying that, Li Dashan ran out of the old house, but instead of heading toward Shuanglong Mountain, he ran toward the south end of the village. He had bad friends, but Li Dashan also had sincere friends who could work together. The temporal disorder didn't mean everything had changed. Some things still followed their original course. A moment later, Li Dashan arrived at the gate of a farmyard on the south end of the village. Gao Manshan, one of Li Dashan's card buddies. Unlike the treacherous Zhang Youfu, Gao Manshan was greedy for small gains, loved gambling and money, but he was truly loyal. At the same time, Gao Manshan owed Li Dashan a life. His only son, Gao Daniu, was already 18 years old. He was tall and big, but not very bright. In the winter when he was 7, the boy fell into a snow pit outside the village. He was frozen stiff and seemed about to die. Fortunately, Li Dashan passed by and saved him. The boy was saved, but due to insufficient blood supply to the brain during freezing, he suffered some brain damage. His IQ had remained around 10 years old. Old Gao, why are you still looking so worried? Li Dashan pushed open the wicker gate and walked in, seeing Gao Manshan squatting alone in the yard, sighing deeply. Gao Manshan looked up at Li Dashan and said with a worried expression, "What else could I be worried about? Money. A few days ago, I lost 4 yuan gambling with Wang Erju, and that old bastard keeps hounding me for it. If I don't pay up soon, he'll tell my wife." Hearing this, Li Dashan couldn't help but laugh. He almost forgot. Gao Manshan was henpecked. One glare from his wife, and he'd be scared shitless. A mouse's kidney, what's the big deal? Li Dashan said dismissively. I found a great spot in the mountains. Bring Danui along with me, and I guarantee you'll not only pay off the debt, but also have plenty left over. Come on, I'd sooner believe I'd trip over a gold nugget than trust you. Gao Manshan curled his lip. You can't even catch a rabbit, and you want to go hunting? I don't have time for your nonsense. I still need to go up the mountain to dig wild vegetables. Brother Dashan. Suddenly a loud shout came from inside the house, followed by a sturdy young man running out. Danui, Big Brother is taking you hunting today to get some good meat. Li Dashan patted Gao Danui on the head and smiled at Gao Manshan. Old Gao, I'm not joking. We'll split whatever we catch 50-50. Damn it, let's do it. Gao Manshan thought it over, then slapped his thigh and called out to his simpleton son, who was sound asleep in the house. Dashan, let's get one thing straight. If you screw me over, don't ever set foot in my house again. A poor man has low ambitions. A skinny horse has long hair. The gambling debt forced Gao Manshan to take a gamble. Old Gao, what are you saying? I'd never screw you over. Li Dashan cheerfully pulled out a small piece of old rock candy and handed it to his simpleton brother Gao Danui to sweeten his mouth. Then he promised, 50-50, I guarantee it. Old Gao, Danui calls me brother, and you treat me like a brother. With our relationship, what's there to worry about? Then Li Dashan added that he had gotten a hunting rifle from Zhang Youfu. From now on, whenever there was hunting, he'd be sure to call the Gao father and son first. As long as he, Li Dashan, had food, he wouldn't forget his good buddy. Badger meat could be eaten, badger oil and badger pelts could be sold. Not just a 4 yuan debt, even 10 yuan could be paid off. Hearing the words, hunting rifle, Gao Manshan's eyes lit up. That stingy bastard Zhang Youfu values that rifle more than his life. How could he give it to you? Oomph, if he doesn't give it, he'll have to face the consequences. Li Dashan sneered coldly and briefly explained how he had cleverly taken the rifle. Damn, you're something else. Li Dashan made it sound simple, but Gao Manshan was stunned. Old Gao, without this skill, even if you begged me, I wouldn't dare take you up the mountain. Stop dawdling. Pack up your stuff, and we'll leave right away. Soon, the three had packed up. Gao Manshan brought 2 large sacks and a wooden club as thick as an arm, while Gao Danyui carried a shovel. They headed straight for the eastern foothills of Shuanglong Mountain. In his youth, Gao Manshan had hunted for a few years with his father and knew a thing or two about the trade. Gao Danyui was strong, could carry and fight, and was obedient. Most importantly, both the Li and Gao families were short on food and money. A strong alliance would maximize benefits. No matter how capable Li Dashan was, he couldn't catch many badgers alone. Before long, the three arrived at the sunny side of the eastern foothills of Shuanglong Mountain. The area was overgrown with weeds, dotted with dense woods and rocks. It was remote and uninhabited, just the kind of place badgers like to live. Following the system's prompts, Li Dashan quickly found the first badger den. Fresh claw marks and droppings at the entrance indicated at least 3 badgers inside. Hold on, watch me. Seeing that Li Dashan had indeed found a badger den, Gao Manshan was astonished but couldn't resist showing off. He signaled Li Dashan and his son to stay put. He moved 2 stones to block the entrance. Then he picked up a few more stones to wedge into the cracks and stomped them down firmly. Li Dashan nodded slightly, glad he hadn't chosen the wrong person. Experience was experience. Without Li Dashan having to say anything, Gao Manshan took the initiative to seal the den. Dad, what are you doing? Aren't we here to dig out the badger den? If you block the entrance, how are we going to dig them out? Gao Danyui was puzzled, not understanding why his father was blocking the hole. You don't know shit. This is called trapping the turtle in a jar. Gao Manshan caught his breath and signaled Li Dashan to continue looking for other badger dens. Soon, they found another den. They repeated the process, blocking the entrance again. Old Gao, that's enough. There are only 3 entrances. We can set a fire at the last one. Yep. Li Dashan and Gao Manshan exchanged glances. They both felt the time was right. Immediately, the two, along with Gao Danyui, gathered a large amount of dry leaves and branches and piled them all at the only unblocked entrance. As the saying goes, a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows. The same goes for badgers. Afraid of being wiped out, badgers often dig multiple entrances. Inexperienced villagers, even if they lit a lot of smoke, would have trouble smoking out the badgers. The smoke would just drift out through the other entrances. At the same time, this tactic also helped defend against natural enemies. If a predator entered the den, the badgers inside could quickly escape through other exits. In short, to catch them all, you had to find all the entrances and leave only one, then wait. Hit each one as it comes out. Gao Manshan crouched down and took out his flint and steel. After 2 failed attempts, Li Dashan pulled out a match and handed it over. Use this. Yours is too slow. Soon, thick smoke billowed up, spreading from the entrance into the den. Li Dashan lay by the entrance, listening to the commotion inside. He heard a rustling and chaotic noise. In an instant, a fat badger burst out of the den, baring its sharp teeth and lunging at Li Dashan. Hit it! Gao Manshan shouted sharply, and Gao Danyui swung the wooden club, smashing it hard against the badger's head. The badger didn't even have time to squeal. It was knocked unconscious on the spot. There's a big one still inside. Li Dashan quickly got up and kicked the burning branches deeper into the den. As soon as he finished speaking, a second badger rushed out, panting, and bit at Gao Manshan. Gao Manshan dodged instinctively, but before he could swing his club, his foot slipped and he fell flat on his back. Dad! Gao Danyui's eyes blazed with fury. He dropped the club and roared, I'll kill you, you bastard! Grabbing the badger by the scruff of the neck, he lifted it off the ground with one hand. Li Dashan's jaw dropped. Damn, lifting it with one hand. My simpleton brother is truly gifted with superhuman strength. Heaven had taken away Gao Danyui's wits, but given him a body of immense power. No matter how ferocious the badger was, Gao Danyui paid it no mind. In a rage, he hurled the badger against a large rock. With a few shrill squeals, the badger's head met the rock in a close encounter. Its brain splattered, and it died instantly. Gao Manshan got up from the ground, pale-faced, watching his son's brutal display. Li Dashan didn't have time to offer comfort. He picked up the club and continued to wait. Just then, smoke filled the entire den, and from inside came a spine-chilling screech. Then the third, fourth, badgers poured out like floodwaters from a burst dam. In less than a quarter of an hour, 8 badgers lay piled at the entrance. In these times, people couldn't get enough to eat, but the badgers were each fatter than the last. The biggest one weighed about 7 or 8 jin. Gao Manshan took out a rolled cigarette from his pocket, struck 3 matches before it lit. and couldn't help saying, "Son of a bitch, I've lived over 50 years and never seen so many fat badgers. Old Gao, was this trip worth it?" Li Dashan teased. "Damn, you finally did something right." Gao Manshan beamed. According to the agreement, the Gao father and son would get 4 badgers. That many badgers would last them a while. "Brother Dashan, you're awesome." Gao Danyui grinned foolishly, drooling at the sight of the fat badgers on the ground. "Brother Dashan, from now on I'll go hunting with you every day and eat badgers every day." When going down the mountain, the sun had already set in the west. Gao Manshan walked ahead, occasionally glancing back at Li Dashan. Suddenly, Gao Manshan stopped and said seriously, "Dashan, you're not right." Upon hearing this, Li Dashan's heart skipped a beat. "Old Gao, you're really messing with me. I'm not missing any arms or legs. What's wrong with me?" At this moment, Li Dashan's heart was in turmoil. After all, Gao Manshan was Li Dashan's close friend, and the two had often gambled and loafed around together. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he knew Li Dashan best. Could old Deng have noticed something? In the past, you would rather skip a meal than take a step into the mountains. If you could lie down, you would never sit. If you could sit, you'd even find walking too tiring. Gao Manshan looked Li Dashan up and down and said, "Just now, I saw how skilled you were at pulling out badgers. You were like an experienced mountain hunter, without 20 or 30 years of experience. You couldn't be so steady and calm, and you showed no fear even when a badger bit you. Hey, you think I want this? Life forced me into it." Li Dashan sighed deeply. Sure enough, the person who knew him best quickly spotted many things that were off. Gao Manshan had sharp eyes, but Li Dashan was also good at acting. He sighed and talked about how even loafing around all day gets boring. Moreover, his mother, 4 ex-wives, and 2 children, a family of 7 women, worked hard every day to support the family. The man who should have been the pillar of the family was just wasting away like mud. Even a heart of stone would feel guilty. To put it bluntly, even if not for the family, he should think about himself. The famine might not end anytime soon, and if he didn't find a way to get more food, he would starve to death sooner or later. Old Gao, when poverty changes, you understand what that means. Hearing this, Gao Manshan nodded slightly. Although he still felt that the Li Dashan before him was somewhat different from the one he knew, on second thought, this version seemed more agreeable. Before, Li Dashan had loafed around and done nothing good. If it weren't for the fact that Li Dashan had saved his son's life, Gao Manshan honestly wouldn't have wanted to deal with him. "Bro, next time you go hunting with a gun, don't forget to take me along." Gao Danyui couldn't help but interject to assert his presence. "I will every time." "Then it's settled." Gao Danyui grinned foolishly, like a child who never grew up. As the 3 returned to the village, they happened to catch the end of the production team's workday. Carrying hoes and shovels, the commune members were heading home in small groups. Seeing Li Dashan and the others returning fully loaded from a distance, many villagers stopped in their tracks. Li Dashan and his group came back from the direction of Shuanglong Mountain with bulging sacks. Clearly, they had gone up the mountain to find food and had a good haul. "Manshan, what did you get from the mountain?" A villager who knew Gao Manshan couldn't help asking loudly. Before Gao Manshan could speak, Gao Danyui put down his sack, pulled out a badger, and began to show off. "Brother Dashan took us to dig out badger holes. We caught 8 fat badgers. They're really fat and delicious." Staring at the badger in Gao Danyui's hand, and then at the 2 large sacks, the surrounding villagers were shocked, their eyes nearly popping out. They were amazed that 3 people had caught so many badgers. But even more unbelievable was that Li Dashan, that loafer, had led the way. Li Dashan knew how to hunt in the mountains? That was too ridiculous. Was the sun rising in the west? Stop talking nonsense. It was probably Gao Manshan who dug them out. Danyui is dumb and can't tell who led. The villagers couldn't believe it and didn't want to believe it. A loafer could catch food, while they could only eat wild herbs to fill their stomachs every day. The gap was too big. They would rather believe that Gao Danyui was talking nonsense than believe Li Dashan had such skills. Li Dashan smiled bitterly to himself. There was no help for it. When a man is poor and wears shabby clothes, everything he does is wrong. Who told him his reputation for being good for nothing was too loud? Seeing the crowd getting more and more outrageous, Gao Manshan quickly smoothed things over, saying, "Everyone, stop shouting. This time, Dashan really led us to dig out the badgers. If Li Dashan were too lazy to even move, would he go into the mountains?" A few women chattered noisily. Li Dashan even pawned his sickle for wine. How could he possibly reform and lead the Gao father and son into the mountains? Li Dashan didn't bother to explain. He immediately divided 4 badgers to the Gao family. Gossip goes on all day. There was no need to argue. Anyway, the meat would end up in their mouths. Let others say what they will. The Gao father and son happily carried their prey home. Li Dashan shouldered the remaining 4 fat badgers and strode toward his old house under the complex gazes of the villagers. Envy, jealousy, and disbelief. As for the gossip and strange looks, Li Dashan didn't take them to heart at all. Mom, girls, come out and collect the goods. As soon as he entered the house, Li Dashan shouted loudly. Whether the villagers liked Li Dashan or not didn't matter at all. What mattered was his family's attitude. Inside the house, Wang Zihua was mending old clothes with her 4 daughters-in-law. Hearing the shout, they put down their work and came out. At the sight of 4 plump badgers, the women were all stunned. You actually caught something? Wang Zihua said in surprise. Zhao Pingting, Song Xiulan, Sun Miao Miao, and Zhou Shuang. The 4 ex-wives exchanged glances, their faces showing the words, unbelievable. Instead, it was the 2 daughters, Hong Hong and Nyonyo, who reacted first. They trotted over on their short legs. Hong Hong looked up at her father with her thin face and asked, Dad, can we eat this meat? Of course we can. It's even better than pork. You'll be too busy eating to say a word. Li Dashan pulled both daughters into his arms and boasted extravagantly. Dad will go hunting in the mountains every day from now on, so you can have meat at every meal and burp every day. Soon, the yard echoed with the children's happy laughter. Wang Zuihua's heart stirred with doubt. Not long ago, the brat was out gambling and squandering money, making the women at home miserable. Now, not only had he gotten a hunting rifle from Zhang Youfu, but he could also go up the mountain and catch so much game. Could it be that the kid had really seen the light? Was he really going to become the pillar of the family and live properly? Song Xiulan's face was taut. For the first time, she felt that life seemed to have a glimmer of hope. The second daughter-in-law, Zhao Pingting, also gained a bit more recognition for Li Dashan. Sun Miao Miao smiled, feeling a long-lost comfort. Zhou Shuang stared straight at the prey, eagerly anticipating this rare feast. Before Wang Zihua could figure it out, Li Dashan put down the 2 daughters and said, Mom, tonight we'll stew a big pot of badger meat. Don't be stingy. The 2 children are growing, and even if the adults don't eat, the kids must. Besides, the girls are all skin and bones. Today, just listen to me and eat a full meat feast. No sooner said than done. Li Dashan found a sharp knife and began skinning on the spot. He tied the badger's hind legs with a hemp rope and hung it on a tree in the yard. The more intact the badger's skin, the more valuable it was. Unfortunately, Li Dashan had just been reborn, and his skills were not as practiced as in his previous life. When making the first cut from the hind leg, he was slightly off by half a point, but the feel of cutting along the superficial fascia was still there. The knife tip moved along the white membrane between the skin and flesh, pushing down bit by bit. When the skin was pulled off, it made a tearing sound as the fascia was pulled. Skinning, cutting meat, rendering fat. The whole process was firmly etched in Li Dashan's mind. All he lacked was the feel. After skinning, Li Dashan cut the badger meat into pieces and cleaned them. He specifically trimmed the fat from the badger's belly, found an old iron pot that was unused at home, washed it, lit a fire, and put the fat pieces into the pot to simmer slowly. As time passed, the badger fat turned into golden, translucent oil. The yard was filled with a faint, oily fragrance. Once the fat was fully rendered, Li Dashan filtered out the cracklings and poured the badger oil into a clean, coarse ceramic jar for storage. The badger oil rendered from 4 badgers must have weighed at least 3 jin. It could be used to treat burns and frostbite. Tomorrow, he would go dig more badgers and sell the extra meat for money. On the other side, Wang Zihua, along with her 4 daughters-in-law, swiftly put the badger meat that Li Dashan had prepared into the pot to stew. Following Li Dashan's instructions, they didn't add any wild vegetables at all. They boiled it in plain water. When the badger meat was served on the Kong table, the tender and fatty chunks looked mouth-watering. In this year of famine, a pure meat feast was the ultimate luxury. The family sat around the Kong table, eating the badger meat heartily. Zhou Shuang took a big bite and felt that Li Dashan hadn't been boasting. The meat was rich but not greasy, even more delicious than pork. Hong Hong and Nyonyo held their coarse porcelain bowls, their cheeks bulging as they ate. This was the first time in their memory that they could eat meat to their heart's content. It was the first time they tasted what it felt like to have a full meal. Zhao Pingting, who came from a wealthy family, ate the slowest. She picked up a piece of meat with alternating fat and lean, chewed it slowly, and swallowed after a long time. Looking up, she met Li Dashan's smiling eyes. She immediately turned her face away. Song Xiulan didn't say anything. but somehow felt a twinge of jealousy in her heart. Third sister, why are your eyes red? Suddenly, Zhou Shuang noticed Sun Miao Miao's eyes were red. Got some sand in my eyes, it's nothing. Eat yours. Sun Miao Miao shook her head. Not only were the two children experiencing the feeling of a full meal for the first time, but she, as an adult, was also tasting what it meant to be full for the first time. Just as the family was enjoying the meal, Wang Suihua suddenly put down her bowl and chopsticks, slapped her thigh, and exclaimed, "Oh no! Mom, what's wrong?" Li Dashan was startled, almost choking on the meat. Wang Suihua slapped her forehead in frustration and muttered, "Badger meat is cooling in nature. Eating too much can cause loose bowels. We've been eating chaff and vegetables, and suddenly eating so much rich meat. We're going to suffer later." Ah, Li Dashan suddenly realized. His mother was right. After a long period of eating bland, unnutritious food, suddenly indulging in a rich meal would inevitably cause diarrhea. No wonder the old lady used to only add a tiny bit of pork belly when stewing meat. It wasn't that she was stingy, but she was afraid everyone's bodies couldn't handle the richness. Today, she was so happy that she forgot this taboo. Stop eating, stop eating. Badger meat is too oily. You'll get diarrhea. The old lady, worried that her two granddaughters couldn't handle it, took away the bowls in front of the two children without explanation. Unfortunately, it was too late. Hong Hong clutched her stomach, her face pained. "Grandma, my tummy hurts." Then Nyonyo also started to cry out. "Quick, take the kids to the outhouse." Wang Suihua called to the dazed Song Xiulan and Sun Miao Miao, who carried their children to relieve themselves. Worried that something was wrong with the kids, the two women hurried out with their daughters as if in a race. "Mom, I can't hold it either." Li Dashan clutched his stomach, which was churning loudly. Holding his stomach and walking with legs together, he rushed into the yard. Song Xiulan, Zhao Pingting, Sun Miao Miao, Zhou Shuang, none of them escaped. One by one, their faces turned pale, and their stomachs churned uncomfortably. Song Xiulan was outside, slapping the door, urging Hong Hong inside to hurry up. Sun Miao Miao stamped her feet while holding Nyonyo. Zhou Shuang squatted by the wall, frowning, and said painfully, "Brother Dashan, you go to the south wall. There's a urine bucket." "Oh, I can't take it." "Here." Li Dashan fetched the urine bucket and handed it to Zhou Shuang. He simply went outside to relieve himself. As long as you don't look up, there are latrines everywhere. But men are afraid of being seen. Squatting in a haystack outside the yard, Li Dashan finally felt relieved after a bout of turmoil. The whole family scrambling for the outhouse would be laughable. It was amusing but also truly heartbreaking. Even Zhao Pingting, a landlord's daughter who had seen and eaten well, couldn't escape this fate. This showed what kind of life the family had been living before. In the yard, Wang Suihua, while enduring stomach pain, wiped her tears. "Old man, is this life good or bad? Even our diarrhea has oil in it. That rascal has finally grown up." The whole family had diarrhea all night. By dawn, the family finally calmed down. Early in the morning, Wang Suihua boiled a large pot of hot water and, after much hesitation, added a big handful of brown sugar. Seeing Li Dashan supporting himself against the door frame, Wang Suihua grumpily ladled a bowl of brown sugar water. "Drink some brown sugar water to warm your stomach. You've been tossing and turning all night, and the outhouse door is almost broken from all the slamming. If your father hadn't died early, he'd be slapping you with his shoe for being so wasteful, cooking a whole pot of meat and letting everyone eat freely. Now look at the mess. Mom, you ate a lot too. But you only went twice and got better." "What?" Li Dashan took a gulp of brown sugar water, feeling his stomach settle. "My old intestines are shrunk from hunger. They can't hold much oil. Unlike you, who eat like a starving ghost." Wang Suihua scolded, but then suddenly laughed. It was true that the family had diarrhea all night, but their faces now had some color. Accompanying his mother, he brought the brown sugar water into the room. After watching his ex-wives and daughters drink it all, Li Dashan took a deep breath and said, "Mom, sisters, I have something to discuss with you. Speak your mind." Wang Suihua said casually, "We can't keep living in this old house anymore. This year, I plan to completely renovate it." Li Dashan said seriously. Last night, as the whole family suffered from diarrhea, Li Dashan busied himself, frequently going in and out of each room to take care of his wife and children. He personally experienced how dilapidated the house really was. 2 roof beams were cracked. The back wall was shaky. Song Xiulan was the first to react. "Li Dashan, have you gone crazy from diarrhea? Look around the whole production team. How many families can afford to renovate their houses? Only the production team cadres. Besides, Bricks and tiles aren't things you can just buy even if you have money. Even wealthy families might not sell. Elder sister is right. Dashan, renovating the house is beyond what a family like ours can dream of. Sun Miao Miao sighed. Right now, people can't even get enough to eat. No one has the mind to fix their houses. Even if they wanted to, they wouldn't. From top to bottom, everyone is busy with one thing: paying off debts. Paying back the debts to the big brother, tightening belts to gather all kinds of supplies to repay. As for the materials needed for building a house, even if you bring a mountain of gold and silver, you might not be able to buy them. Don't rush to oppose me. I know it's not easy, but still, we adults don't care about ourselves. We should at least consider the children, right? Li Dashan expected the whole family to oppose him. Once again, he used his 2 daughters as a shield. Not to mention anything else. Last winter, Hong Hong had a fever for 3 days. The doctor at the commune health center said she needed to go to the county hospital. She almost didn't make it on the way. You all remember that, right? Li Dashan paused and continued. Before winter comes this year, let's renovate the house. Thicken the walls, replace the roof tiles, rebuild the kong and stove. This winter, no matter how cold it gets, the house will be warm, so the kids won't suffer. The family's adobe house wasn't that old. It had been built only about 10 years. Back then, things were what they were. They built it hastily without considering the cost. Now, the walls were crumbling and cracked, and the broken roof tiles couldn't keep out the rain and snow. The Li family's house was built in the late 1940s. At that time, there was nothing, so the house was built carelessly. It barely provided shelter. After all these years, it had reached a critical point where renovation was necessary. Look, our adobe walls are too thin to withstand temperatures of -30 or 40 degrees. I plan to thicken the walls both inside and out, plaster them with a mixture of yellow mud and straw. Replace all the broken roof tiles with green tiles, paste thick cotton paper on the windows, and build an extra room for storage. In the 1960s, winters in the Northeast were like ice cellars, often reaching -30 or 40 degrees. The adults can grit their teeth and endure. But Hong Hong and Nyo Nyo are still so young, thin as matchsticks. The house leaks wind and snow. If the children catch a cold and get a fever, given the lack of medical resources in the countryside, even a small mistake could be a matter of life and death. Li Dashan, reborn to support this family, must not let the children suffer. Fixing the house is not as simple as talking about it. It requires materials and help. The old lady's tone softened, but she still disapproved. It's not that I don't want to live in a good house, but the practical difficulties are right in front of us. She felt there was no feasibility in this. Zhao Pingting chimed in. Don't be too impatient. We can talk about fixing the house when things get better later. Sun Miao Miao remained silent. She was always afraid that Li Dashan, on a whim, would turn back into that lazy good-for-nothing after a few days. Zhou Shuang spoke up in support. Mom, I believe Brother Dashan can do what he says. We'll be living in a warm new house sooner or later. Among the 4 ex-wives, only Zhou Shuang had never given up on Li Dashan. Having witnessed Li Dashan reform step by step, she naturally became his staunchest supporter. Big sister, what do you think? Zhou Shuang asked Song Xiulan. Wang Cuihua and the other 2 daughters-in-law also turned their eyes to her. In the past, whenever Li Dashan made a boast, Song Xiulan would be the first to mock and refute him, never sparing his face. Song Xiulan moved her lips, but ultimately said nothing. Li Dashan sighed inwardly. Her not continuing to oppose was already her greatest support. Immediately, Li Dashan said resolutely, the timber, bricks, and tiles needed to fix the house are not things you can buy just with money. They require connections and relationships. I have all that figured out. In his previous life, he had already mastered the ways of the world, and later made a career in the wave of reform and opening up, deeply understanding the survival tactics of this era. In the material-scarce 1960s, sometimes money was less useful than game and furs. To get these building materials, he had to take it step by step. First, accumulate some capital and connections through hunting, and exchange mountain goods for favors and supplies. As long as he didn't get cocky, there was nothing he couldn't accomplish. Hearing Li Dashan say this, Wang Cuihua felt a bit relieved. Mom knows you have the heart to support this family. As long as we live steadily and save up bit by bit, the day will come when the house is fixed. Zhao Pingting nodded in agreement. The bet that night was now fully settled. The Li Dashan before them was no longer that lazy good-for-nothing. He had gradually become the family's shelter from wind and rain. Sun Miao Miao looked at Li Dashan's clear-headed demeanor, and her suspicions about him faded considerably. Although she hadn't completely let go of her concerns, She was no longer as entirely dismissive as before. Song Xiulan still said nothing, maintaining her silent approval. The two daughters, however, were very supportive. Hong Hong tugged at her younger sister Nyonyo and called out, "Sis, Dad is going to build us a big house. We'll have a big house to live in." Seeing her sister's excited face, Nyonyo giggled along. Zhou Shuang said cheerfully, "Brother Dashan, when the time comes, I'll help you make adobe bricks." Li Dashan grinned and said, "Not only will we fix the house, but we'll also add a few new quilts and 2 new outfits for each person. I'm putting it out there today. This New Year's Eve, our table will have 10 hearty dishes. If even one is missing, I'll chop off my head." Before he could finish, the courtyard door was pounded loudly. "Brother Dashan, I'm here." Recognizing Gao Daniyu's voice, Li Dashan quickly walked toward the courtyard door. Just as he reached the door, he heard Gao Daniyu shouting anxiously outside, "Brother Dashan, the crops at the foot of the mountain have been ravaged by wild boars. The production team has ordered all members with guns to go into the mountains and hunt the boars. And all the boar meat you kill is yours to keep. Open the door quickly. Let's go into the mountains together. I'm strong. I'll help you carry the boar." "What? Wild boars have come down to destroy the crops." Hearing this, Li Dashan immediately opened the courtyard door. Talk about getting what you wished for. He had just gotten an old-fashioned hunting rifle from Zhang Youfu, and now came a chance to try it out. Seeing Li Dashan just laughing heartily, Gao Daniyu urged anxiously, "Brother Dashan, let's go quickly." The production team said that whoever kills a boar gets the meat and also earns work points. If we're late, others will have killed all the boars. "Daniyu, wait for me a moment. I'll go inside and let them know." Li Dashan was grinning from ear to ear. He had almost forgotten. There was another way to make money right now. As the famine entered its second year, ensuring agricultural production became an overriding hard target. Crops were life. This was true for humans and also for wild animals. In the past 2 years, wild boars frequently came down the mountains to ravage the crops, gnawing at the seedlings in the fields. Seeing the hard-planted grain on the verge of destruction, local officials were frantic. Moreover, wild boars were fierce and thick-skinned, and ordinary people dared not provoke them. Unless given sufficient incentives, no one was willing to risk their lives. In view of this, the relevant authorities issued a special order allowing members with guns to go into the mountains and hunt any pests that harmed agricultural production, with all kills belonging to the hunters themselves. "Mom, find me the butcher knife you used to clean the badger yesterday, and also bring the cowhide rope Dad used to use." After packing up, Li Dashan checked the hunting rifle again. The shot-loaded hunting rifle was a single-barrel, muzzle-loading gun. Each shot required pouring gunpowder and loading shot from the muzzle, then tamping it down with a ramrod against a thick-skinned beast like a wild boar. If one shot didn't kill it, there would be no time to reload for a second shot. Therefore, to hunt a wild boar, one had to use cunning.